Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome to our live call today. This is a special live call where I can take questions from you about really anything, but especially about upcoming Watercolor Week, which is going to be amazing, and I can't wait for it. I am so excited to have you here. We are streaming to YouTube and to Facebook. So if you have any comments, leave them in the chat box there. If you have no idea who I am or what I'm talking about, my name is Alex Kincaid. I'm a watercolor artist and teacher, and I have a very special workshop coming up. It's called Watercolor Week, and this is a workshop that I've done a few times over the past few years. We're only doing it one time in 2025. It's 5 days of live watercolor teaching. Yes, there are replays, and it's only $10 for the entire experience. So it's honestly the jumpstart that you need if you've been wondering if watercolor is a good hobby for you, if you've been thinking about getting your supplies out of the closet after they've been kind of getting a little dusty for a while, if you're wondering if you have what it takes to be creative and be an artist, you do. And this is a really good way to have no procrastination, inspiration, community with the thousands of other people that come together for Watercolor Week. There's so much energy and it is so fun and creative and artistic. So I would love to see you there. We will put the link to sign up in the chat, and it's just $10 for the whole week. So I thought I would show you some of the things that we're going to be painting and answer some of the commonly asked questions that I get about Watercolor Week, and then you can decide if it's a good fit for you or not. So it starts on Monday, August 18th, and then we're going to go live every day from the 18th to the 22nd. Now the live classes are from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time each day, and they're in a private Facebook group. But if you can't make it to the live class, I know people get busy. Some people are working, some people are taking care of the kids, whatever happens that you maybe can't make the live class, the replays are available right after class, and they'll be up through August 26th. So it is a live event. It's really fun to show up live. We do giveaways during the live classes, but I know some people want to watch a replay later that night, maybe pause the lesson, paint along with me, rewind to hear about a technique again. So we make that available for you. All right, this is the project. It's peonies, coreopsis, and nigella, which is also called love and a mist, plus putting everything together in a bouquet with the stems, with the leaves. It is a really beautiful bouquet. That's what we're going for at the end of the week. We're going to paint that bouquet together on Thursday and Friday. If you are totally new to watercolor, you're like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to paint that bouquet, Alex, but I promise if you come along with me, do the exercises with me, get your supplies out, and just trust the process, you will be amazed at what you can paint. So we actually start a little bit easier, you'll be happy to hear. Days 1, 2, and 3 of the week, we work on the individual painting elements. So we're going to paint the coreopsis, we're going to paint the nigella, and we're going to paint a peony blossom, just like this. And what I like to do is kind of recommend that you do 2 versions of each painting, and then have the first version paint along with me during class and just have it be practice. There's something about doing that really takes the pressure off of you. And then later that night, you can, grab the other version of it that you've drawn out and then practice it and have that be like your final painting. Now, for some of you, you're like, whoa, what do you mean something that I've drawn out? Not to worry, I've done all the drawings for you. So this is the drawing of our peony blossom, and this is one of the versions of the peony blossom, right? So just so you know, you don't have to do any drawing. The drawings are done for you. I also give you instructions on how you can put those drawings on your watercolor paper. I personally like to use a light box and trace through it, but if you don't have a light box, you can use a window, you could use a projector. If you're painting on a block of watercolor paper, so you can't take just one sheet off to do this, you can use tracing paper. Okay? And also, of course, you're welcome to draw it yourself if you'd like to and freehand draw it. So I thought I'd show you, let me see here, my fancy buttons. I thought I'd show you the traceable images and the guide that comes along with your $10 ticket. Okay, there we go. So when you purchase that, we send this straight to your email. It has all of the traceable images in it, as well as some answers to frequently asked questions. So all of the lessons take place in a private Facebook group. Okay, there are replays. The replays are on demand through August 26th. Okay, we'll send the links to you every day, or you can find them in the Facebook group. The supplies and materials, we're going to talk about that in just a second. I have some things here for you to prepare before class, and that mostly involves, here's how to transfer your drawing to watercolor paper, mostly involves transferring these drawings to your watercolor paper before class so you're ready to go, okay? All right, let's go back to my face there. So in watercolor week, you can use any supplies that you already have on hand. Now, that being said, I know a lot of people, especially when you're a beginner, you kind of want to use the same supplies that the instructor is using. So there's a full list of those on my website. You can see it ahead of time if you'd like to. They're the exact supplies I'll be using, the same paper, the same paints, the same brushes. Okay, and we can put a link to that in the chat. But you can also use whatever you have on hand. Okay, if you're using lower quality watercolor supplies, some of the techniques are going to be a little bit more challenging. If you're not using a high quality paper, some of the techniques that require more water are going to be a little more challenging, but it's still going to give you a really good idea of whether watercolor is something that you want to continue pursuing. You know, if you're curious about what watercolor is like and where it can take you, it's a really, really great way to find out in Watercolor Week. Okay? All right, any questions about that? Please drop them in the chat, and I'm just going to talk you through some of the techniques we're going to be learning day by day. On day one, we are painting our golden coreopsis, okay? And we're going to talk about the basics of watercolor. So posture, how do you hold your brush? How do you put paint on paper? That's what we're all here for. So we're going to be putting a lot of paint on paper over the week. Okay, we're going to talk about mixing colors in our palette, actually getting our paints from the palette to the paper, right? Basics. It's the basic mechanics of watercolor that if you don't know those and you don't start out with that strong foundation, everything else feels confusing. So it's better to start with, this is how we hold our brush. This is how we put water in our paints. This is how we put paint on the paper. And the cool thing is, it's not just a boring class where you don't end up with anything at the end of it. You actually end up with a painting. So that's going to be really fun. We're going to talk about flat washes, wet into wet painting, how much water do we need on the paper, what should our paint consistency be, okay? Then as we move through the week, we're going to start to layer in some more complicated concepts and some more advanced techniques. Even if you're a beginner, just trust the process, okay? I have taught thousands of people how to watercolor. It's approachable, it's fun, and yeah, watercolor has a pretty steep learning curve. So it's helpful to have somebody take you by the hand, walk you through some of the terminology and the basic techniques so that you can decide what you'd like to do going forward. We're gonna continue the week and talk about blending our watercolors, how to get really soft, beautiful gradients, how to glaze. So glazing is when we put layers of paint on top of dried layers of paint. It helps us create depth, helps our paintings not look flat, but two and three dimensional, okay? We're gonna talk about negative space painting, if you've ever wondered about that, lifting, highlights, and then how do you put an entire composition together? Because we have to think about that. You know, when you're painting an entire bouquet like this, where do you start with it? So we've gotten some questions about, can lefties do this, left-handed people? And absolutely, lefties are welcome. We have lots of left-handed friends who paint along with me. One of the tips I have for you is in the Facebook group. Once you join, there is a prep and setup class to help you get your supplies ready, help you with the tracing process. And one of the tips I have is to flip the drawing if you're a left-handed painter. That's a good way to still paint along with me, but keep your hand out of the wet paint. If you've ever had that happen, you know it's a problem, right? Yeah, Susan said trusting the process is a thing. Yeah, it really is. Because, you know, at the beginning, most of our paintings go through what sometimes we call the ugly stage, right? Or like the unfinished stage. Sometimes that goes right up until the end, right? Sometimes you've been painting something for 4 or 5 hours and you're like, this is not turning out the way I would like it to turn out. So it's good to know, no, I can trust the process, keep doing the next right step, and then you'll have that finished painting at the end with those final details. Okay? I love it. Okay, yeah. Any questions, just let me know. Jan Castle said, oh my word, there's so much to learn. There is. It's kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but where somebody is helping you every step of the way. Okay? We have special cheerleaders in our Facebook group who are there to point you to the replays, the right resources. We spend months getting this project just right and setting up the technology and setting up the support and the workbooks so that all of your questions are answered and you really can just relax and know that you're in a good, safe environment where it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay if your painting doesn't come out perfect. Our goal is to learn something every time we paint, not necessarily to be perfect when we paint, right? So I would love to see you there. It's $10, okay? The classes are 2 hours a day. That's a great question, Diane. It's 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time, 5 days in a row. We're going to go through a lot of watercolor terminology, a lot of techniques, but all of it is very gradual and it all builds on each other. So once you understand, this is how much water needs to be in my paint, then the next day you're not thinking about that as much. You're able to layer in the techniques and layer in some of the things. Now, day 1, I mentioned we're doing the Coreopsis painting. Day 2, we're going to jump into peony painting. Here's our peony, okay? Now, painting the peony is personally my favorite. I think it's beautiful. We're going to have to talk a lot about water management here, the order that we do things in. How do we get the soft gradient, right? How do we go from dark to light on the petals without having the back bleeds or the things that we aren't really enjoying to look at? How do we get that bright yellow center in there without making it look muddy or dull? We're going to talk about all of that on day 2. Day 3, we're going to be painting Nigella. It's also called Love in a Mist. And this is so fun because we're going to get a chance to talk about how do you mix different green colors, about painting stems so that they look 3-dimensional. We're going to be talking about negative space painting, okay? That's going to come into play here. And then flat washes to layer, as well as wet on dry to add details in. So if any of those techniques have given you a problem in the past, this is a really great day for you to join us. That's day 3. That'll be next Wednesday. Okay, and then day 4, we start painting our bouquet. We're going to work through it. At the end of day 4, it'll be half finished. Okay, and then day 5, we'll come together and finish our full bouquet, put the finishing touches on it that make all the difference. So at the end of the week, my goal is for you to have at least, at least 4 finished paintings. Okay, and remember, all the drawings are done for you. So the drawing of the full bouquet is done for you. The drawing of the Coreopsis, of the peonies. Okay, you can see here, full drawing is already done. You just have to transfer it to watercolor paper and then follow along step by step. You're going to learn so much. Here's a top tip for you. We've had lots and lots of people, over 10,000 people have gone through Watercolor Week in the past. And so here's a top tip that many of the most successful ones do. They will watch the live lesson with me, paint a little bit, doodle, take notes, okay, maybe work on a practice piece, but then they'll do the actual painting later that day with the replay so that as I'm painting, they can pause, paint a little bit, back up to hear about a technique again, or, rewind to see how I did something again on the footage. So that's a top tip for making the most out of Watercolor Week. I also, this year, have text reminders set up. So if you're somebody who signs up for things and then you forget that they're happening, we'll be sending you an email when we go live. And you can opt in to get a text from us that says, Alex is going live in just a few minutes. Make sure you don't miss class. Now, if you do happen to miss class, the replays will be posted in that Facebook group right after class. It usually takes Facebook a few minutes to process them. We'll send you an email with the link for the replays, and we'll put the replay link in the Facebook group as well. We are over-communicating next week so that you don't miss anything. We have some really great giveaways for next week. So we're giving away 3 months in the garden studio to 3 different people. The garden studio is my botanical watercolor school. It's my membership where we have over 300 hours of painting lessons. So I'm going to give 3 people 3 months in the garden studio. I have Arches watercolor paper to give away. And if you know anything about watercolor paper, you know that is like the gold standard. We have cash prizes that you can use to go buy whatever art supplies are missing. And we have a grand prize. Somebody's going to win a grand prize and get my favorite paints, my favorite brushes, my favorite watercolor paper in a beautiful giveaway prize. So those are going to be amazing. The giveaways are always a really fun part. There is a supply list. I see your question, Lola. There is a supply list. You can check it out ahead of time. We'll put the link in the chat. It's alexkincaidart.com/supplies. You'll see my full supply list, but remember, you don't have to use the same things I'm using. If you want to, you are welcome to. If you already have watercolor supplies, use those. You're going to learn a lot about watercolor supplies throughout the week, and so you can always upgrade or purchase something different after you've learned a little bit more about it. Okay? Okay. Andrea, wonderful. Andrea said, this is my 2nd or maybe 3rd year joining. Becky has already signed up and is excited to start. I love it. I can't wait to see you guys. Awesome, awesome. So we're going to be going live Monday, August 18th, 1 p.m. Central Time. We'll all be here. It will be amazing. There's going to be so much energy and fun and creativity. There's something really special that happens when you know that you and a couple thousand other people are all working on the same project at the same time. It's so fun. It helps hold us accountable. It helps us actually take action on creativity, to fill our own cup back up, to do something for ourselves, and to learn to enjoy the process without worrying about messing up or failure or being a perfectionist. You know, all of those things, they happen to all of us. They happen to me too. But it's really good when we can learn how to put them to the side and just enjoy painting, enjoy the act of creating, and learn something anyway. Okay? Okay. Yes, Sharon, if you are very much a beginner, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. We're going to be starting with some real beginner lessons on day 1. And then remember, if it goes too quickly for you or you just want to stop and practice, you'll have the replays. You can stop. You can paint along with them later that day. Okay? Okay. Oh, Sandy said, I just bought Core paints. I'm totally in love with this paint. So Core is my favorite brand of watercolor paint. I love them. Love them. I've been using them for years and years and years. Top recommendation. I love that you love them too, Sandy. That's awesome. Diane said, where do we sign up for Watercolor Week? That's a great question. So I have my team here. They're going to drop the link there in the chat for you. And you can sign up right now. It's $10 for 5 days of watercolor lessons. And these are not watercolor lessons where I'm leaving you up to your own devices or you have to somehow figure out what I just did. My teaching style is to tell you every single thing I'm doing and why I'm doing it and why it matters. Okay? Teach very step-by-step, very logically, very organized. So if you've ever taken a class before and just felt like, I don't even know what happened, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to jump in. Lynn said, thank you for all the preparation you and your team have done. Lynn, thank you for saying thank you, and you're welcome. It's a lot. We have a lot of logistics behind the scenes so that this can be the best watercolor class you've ever taken. That's my goal. I think this is going to be the best watercolor week we've ever done. The project is so fun. You're going to learn so much. We have incredible bonuses throughout the week. For anybody who wants to join me in the garden studio, we have bonuses on how to paint leaves, lots of leaf painting opportunities in the garden studio. We have bonuses on painting Nigella without a drawing ahead of time using my framework. A really fun bonus that I put together is all about figuring out what mistakes you've made, you know, because all of us make mistakes. And so, but sometimes we're like, why did that happen? Did I have too much water? Did I not use enough water? So I have a great new tool I'm going to be sharing about where you can figure out what happened and then know how to fix it. And there are also great other bonus traceables available too. So if you want to paint, use the lessons and paint other compositions and things, that's an option too. So lots and lots of options for you. But the main thing is to start with me on Monday, August 18th. It's only $10 for an entire week of watercolor lessons. I'm going to take you by the hand, walk you through techniques, show you how to get your paints moving, how to put paint on paper, and you're going to have 4 finished paintings by the end of the week. So I am so excited to see you there. I would love to see you there. We're happy to answer any other questions you have. We'll put the email address to reach us in the chat, please. Please, Rachel and Lisa, if you can put that in the chat. It's support@alexkincaidart.com. And so you can shoot us an email if you have any other questions, or if you're watching this Facebook Live or YouTube Live replay later on, just send us a question. We're happy to help, happy to get you ready to start on Monday. Your drawings traced, your paints ready, everything ready to go. Okay. All right, everybody. Karen just signed up. Wonderful. It's going to be so fun. Honestly, it's going to be so great. It's a joy to be able to talk about watercolors, and also their flowers. Like, flowers are beautiful. It's a privilege. It is a joy to talk about watercolors with people who get it. We're all in the same big room together, all of us trying to be creative, to overcome the obstacles, of being busy, of worrying that we don't have what it takes to be an artist, of that imposter syndrome that creeps in, not sure if we have the right supplies, all those little things that just hold us back from actually creating and feeling the joy and freedom that comes from that. So I hope you join me. Hopefully this Q&A session was helpful, helping you decide whether this is the next right step for you. I hope it is. $10 starts August 18th. You can sign up at the link that we shared in the chat, or shoot us an email if you have any questions. I can't wait to see you there, everybody. I'll see you on Monday, just a couple short days away, and we are going to have a blast painting together. Thanks, everybody. Bye.